Weapons didn't help him out of that, did it? So that's ludicrous. So he said here, except those, at verse 22, Matthew 24, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh, that's absolutism,
That's right.
be saved. That's not even just mankind. That's why, brothers and sisters, we ain't got to get so wrapped up in all of this stuff that we're dealing with. We're just trying to get through this.
That's right.
We ain't got to get so wrapped up in this world and this life, because this is going to come to a crashing end real soon.
That's right.
And if the Lord don't step in, wouldn't be none left. But the Lord ain't going to let him do that. He said there should no flesh be saved. But for what?
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
See, but for the elect's sake, he going to shorten these days. He going to come back and end it before they blow it all up. But now, we're going to come back to Matthew. Go to Revelation 3. Because I just want to show you the good news is if you focus on doing God's will, he have made a promise that you can be delivered from this. As long as you're not one of the ones he chooses to have give their life up as a witness and a testimony for others, but as a whole, he done made a promise to have you in position where you can be delivered from this. Because this is the most terrible time the world has ever seen or will ever see. Revelation 3, we're going to read one verse, then we're going to come right back to Matthew 24 and start it from the top. Revelation 3, we're going to pick it up at verse 10. We're going to read that one verse. Revelation 3 and read verse 10. Go ahead.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
See, notice it's predicated on your actions always. See, if you're not doing God's will, it's ludicrous to think that you're going to get delivered from the time of trouble by way of rapture any other way if you're not doing his will. But we showing you if you're doing his will, it's a good chance you will be delivered because he done made preparation for that. But we know it's not by way of no rapture because that's not in the Bible. He never told you he going to just scoop some people off the earth to save them from this time. Well, people have taken one verse and twisted it and ran with it. But he did say here, Revelation 3 and 10, he said, because you have kept the word of my patience. You've been doing something. How do you keep the word of his patience? By fearing him and keeping his commandments. That's how you do it. He's going to tell us that in Revelation 14. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So the Lord is concerned that he make a way for you to get away from this hour of temptation. This is going to be the worst hour the world has ever seen. He calling it the hour of temptation, right? Because you're going to be between, as the old saying, between a rock and a hard place. You're going to have a man telling you he run it and he going to have the power to back it up. I run it. I want you to worship my way or I'm going to kill you. That's the hard place. But now, on the other side, it's going to be a rock because God's going to be saying, if you worship that man, I'm going to put you in the lake of fire forever. That's between a rock and a hard place. That's a terrible option. So if at all possible, you want to get away from that and don't even have to face that. If perhaps you end up in it, you want to choose to fear the Lord more than that man. That's why Jesus said, don't fear what man can do to you. Fear what God can do to you. He can do much more. That's why he had to make statements like that. But that's a rough decision. Even you got children. They said, look, you're not going to worship me. We're going to take your children and kill them. Right in front of your face. And you got to go for that? No, I think I want to find out what the escape route is. See, but he's telling you that. Read verse 10 again, Revelation 3 and 10. Go ahead.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
The hour of temptation. Go ahead.
Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
It's coming, brothers and sisters. It's coming. He's telling you that right here. And the only way out, first and foremost, is for you to be keeping the word of his patience, right? Being obedient to him. And he said, because you have done that, I will keep you from the hour of temptation. Now, he's promising he's going to keep you, so we just need to find out how he's going to keep you from it, right? Because he got some instructions that you need to know to be kept from it. He said, I will keep you from the hour of temptation that's coming on not just a little area, not just in America, not just in your neighborhood or some other neighborhood. He said, the hour of temptation which cometh upon what? All the world, to try them that dwell where?
Upon the earth.
Upon the earth. It's going to try everybody on this planet. Because we're going toward where everybody can be controlled by one organization now. You should be able to see that. We headed toward that, where everybody can be controlled by a couple of people. Everybody in the world can be controlled. We headed toward that. That's what all this modern technology is taking you to. But now, we got a promise that we can escape this if we doing his will. But let's go back to Matthew 24 now, and we're going to start at verse 3. Matthew 24 and verse 3. Okay, go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?
See, people get confused about some of this because the disciples asked multiple questions. They did ask him about the temple and all that being destroyed. When they said, tell us when shall these things be, because that's what the conversation was about, the temple and stuff being destroyed, which happened in 70 AD. So he ran that down to him. He ran it all down to him. You read Luke 21. But yet still, you can't ignore that the disciples included in their questioning was, what shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? You can't act like that's not there. So they literally knew when Jesus come back, the world was going in, and they wanted to know signs. And that's what Matthew focused on, telling us the answer to that question that Jesus gave them. What shall be the sign of your coming? His second coming, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. And the end of the world. See, if you saying this happened already, like the brother said, it's been completely fulfilled, you saying Jesus had made his second coming already. Because we saw him in Matthew 24 at verse 29 through 31, immediately after tribulation, the sun getting dark, and he coming back, right?
That's right.
Well, that never happened. So how you going to tell me this completely fulfilled? And this is the question. What shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? But go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
See, that's what we have to be on the lookout for in the last days. Much deception. That's why you got all these preachers not telling us the truth. We don't want to fall for that. Jesus warned you of that. That's why churches are full of people. Because he said here, take heed that no man deceive you. Why? What's going to happen in these days?
For many shall come in my name.
Not a handful, not a few. Many come in the name of Jesus, brothers and sisters. And what do they do with that name?
Saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
And they deceive many in his name. Many are deceived in the name of Jesus. See, people think just because they believe on Jesus, they got it made. Look, you got to find out what Jesus is saying. One thing he's telling you here, don't believe all of these false prophets. He told you the same thing at verse 11. Many false prophets shall rise and deceive men. But we ain't going to keep reading.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled.
Go ahead.
For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
See, now man been fighting wars